morning and welcome to Today in LA. I'm Bill Rice Jr. I'm joined on the telephone by Mike Amos, who is in Birmingham with his family. And we'll be joined in a little while by Michael Amos in Grayton Beach, Florida. And then I think Coach Hambright should be here to talk about the big Charles Henderson homecoming win. So we're going to recap all of the high school and college football games and talk about the big ones coming up this week. And as you can see, Bill Rice Jr. has now got his ears lowered, and so I want to thank Raymond.
You got a haircut, is that right?
Yeah, much needed. Jack and I went and got a haircut Saturday morning and spent some quality time with Raymond.
I tell you what, Jackson is a pistol ball. I watched him at the game Friday night, and I've never seen a kid have so much fun with so many different kids in my life.
He did have fun. He had a good weekend. The kids and the wife went to the Oktoberfest, or the beer fest that they had on the square, and they had a lot of fun. I was staying home watching college football games, but from all reports, there was a good crowd and everybody had a great time. So I think Leanne put that on. Whoever put on that event, thank you very much. That was a good event.
Did you mention beer fest?
Yeah, they had some kind of Oktoberfest beer fest.
And so you mean they were pouring cold beer downtown?
Yeah, my wife got, I guess I can say this, my wife got two fancy beers, not Budweiser's, but
So everybody was having fun downtown then, wasn't it?
Yeah, when I went to get my haircut Saturday morning, I saw the setup, and they had some kind of, I thought it was a bouncy house, but it was just some kind of, I don't know what it was, some kind of little temporary beer fest, beer garden house. It was a neat setup.
Yeah. I was looking over a lot of the high school stores and some of the highlights of the weekend for some of the high school kids, and of course, nobody had any better highlights than the kid from Charles Henderson. Bill, I don't know about that. I've seen the kid in the first half of the game completely dominate the first half because those kids from the
Headland
quarterback to the wide receiver. Do you have any? You know much about that?
No, but I want to ask Coach Hambright. I can't remember the kid's name. All the people that are watching Charles Henderson will know him. Number 2, the wide receiver in the first half. I missed the first long touchdown pass, but you told me it was a 75-yard.
75 yards, yeah.
So that's him. Then later, Adams hit him in stride for about a 40-yard beautiful touchdown pass where he got behind the secondary. Then he runs back a punt for all the way for a touchdown, which was a thing of beauty. All his little cuts and moves and setting up his blockers and exploding. Then Headland finally scores a touchdown, and they kick off, and the same player runs the kickoff back all the way about 80 yards. Beautiful run there, outruns the Headland defense the last 30 yards. But darn if the referees didn't throw a flag and call that back. But absent that, he would have had 4 touchdowns on all explosive, super long plays. And I just can't remember any Charles Henderson player that you add all that up, and that would be about 300, 400 yards of offense, total offense for one player in one half.
And this young Adams kid, only a 10th grader for Charles Henderson, he was magnificent in his own right. But this kid, number 2, and somebody call in and tell us his name, or I should know it. But he just had a tremendous night of football. He was. I tell you what, if this kid can't play at the next level, I don't think they ought to have a next level.
Well, you said you thought he was a senior, but I asked my wife, who's a teacher, and she says he's a sophomore. Oh, so if he's this,
a sophomore, look out. If he's a sophomore, I need to know more about it. Somebody call in and tell us about it.
Yeah, if he's a sophomore and he keeps his nose clean, and my wife says he's a good kid, and he keeps improving, shoot, not only will he be a prospect, he'll be a prospect that can go to any college he wants to in America if he keeps this up.
There's no question about it. I was looking at Charles Simpson. Of course, they won 42-21 over, and to be honest with you, it wasn't even that close. You know, Headland scored a late touchdown to make it look better than it was for them. But I tell you, Coach, this Charles Simpson team continues to improve. We're gonna see some good teams at Charles Simpson.
Yeah, that you know, there were some sloppy plays, and the game was marred by, it seemed like a penalty on every play, literally, for a while. Especially in the first two quarters. You know, make an editorial comment. If it's not a blatant holding or clipping penalty, keep the flag in your pocket. So I mean, it just takes away all enjoyment from the football game when these anonymous referees take control of the ball game.
You know, that one touchdown that he ran back was so beautiful, it just made your heart hurt to know that they called it that, because it was such a magnificent run. You
know, you're right, Mike. We sat in your favorite spot in the last row of the end zone where we could lay back against the brick wall in, I guess, the south end zone. And so he was running right to us, so we could see the whole play right in front of us, and how he set up his blockers and made the right cuts, and cut left, then cut right, and turned on the afterburners. And then I didn't see a flag, and then I thought, oh my gosh, you know, this kid is just lighting it up, and then there was a flag, and they brought it back.
I wish I had my kickoff magazine, and we could identify these players even better than right now. I was looking at some other scores and some other performances this past weekend. This kid at Tuscaloosa Academy, his name was Luke Gilcor. Luke Gilcor caught 6 passes for 93 yards and a touchdown in the Tuscaloosa Knights' big victory over Monroe Academy. His receiver named Luke Jones quarterback Luke Jones threw 8 passes for 198 yards and 4 touchdowns. So that quarterback over at Tuscaloosa, we've already mentioned in our article yesterday, or day before yesterday, the Tuscaloosa Academy is leaving the Alabama Independent Schools and will be going to get a.
They're going to the Alabama High School athletic. That's a big deal because they're one of the name brand prominent teams in the AISA and have been forever. And now they're leaving, so you know it makes you wonder if there might be other programs, one locally, that might be considering the same thing. Here is another call. I bet it's Michael Amos. Let's check. Guten Morgen.
Morning. How are y'all?
Good. We're got a lot of things to talk about. We started off by talking about the Charles Henderson's homecoming win over Headland. There's Coach Hambright. We'll bring him in a couple minutes. He can tell us. But several individuals just jumped off the field at you with their athletic ability. There was some.
And Coach Hambright's already with us tonight.
Yeah, I hope he's over there getting some coffee and.
Oh man, I'm tickled.
You know, in Headland, Charles Henderson was gashing Headland. But you could tell that Headland had some good athletes. They had some big, fast, strong players of their own. But
they sure did. They had two. They had a quarterback and a receiver that looked to be over 6'5", big tall kids.
But and then the running back number 4, was getting 10 yards a run, it seemed like to me. Adams was, and then we've talked about number 2, just looked like, I don't know, he looked like that wide receiver for LSU that's now tearing up the NFL, or Devontae Smith or somebody. So that was just what the doctor ordered for Coach Hambright and the Trojans. So I think they've won 2.
I was looking at the AP poll. Troy will actually be playing against a number 24 ranked Coastal Carolina on Thursday night. So Coastal Carolina didn't get on the polls after losing to App State. I was kind of surprised.
Yeah, I know that's gonna be a great game, but that is Thursday night from so that's a
Conway, it's Conway, South Carolina. It's near Myrtle Beach, so that game will be on ESPN2 on Thursday night.
I'll tell you what, let's take a commercial break, Steve, if we can, and then we'll bring Coach Hambright on, and then we'll get a little review and look forward with the Charles Henderson Trojans.
No matter how much exercise trends change through the years, how you can count on Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Alabama stays the same. Choosing the right health insurance makes it easier for you to stay healthy in the long run and gives you peace of mind that can last a lifetime. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Alabama. We cover what matters.
Piggly Wiggly's local butchers are on site at both stores and will help you select the best cuts of meat and trim them to your liking. Our USDA choice beef is the most consistently tender, juicy, and flavorful beef you can buy, all at cost plus 10%.
Got a job? Yes. Need a car? Yes. Take home $350 a week? Yes. Been told no by the other guys? Yes. At Premier. Yes, you can. Drive a new car or pre-owned vehicle today from Premier. You can be approved today. Got a job? Yes. Need a car? Yes. Take home $350 a week? Yes. Been told no by the other guys? At Premier. Yes, you can. You can be approved today. Shop PremierTroy.com. Nobody beats a Premier deal. Nobody.
Welcome to ESPN College Football.
This is going to be wild. Run it.
In the market for a new or pre-owned vehicle? We've got what you're looking for.
So come see us at Bill Jackson Chevrolet Buick GMC in Troy, and you too can experience the Jackson satisfaction.
Bill Jackson Chevrolet Buick GMC.
He would. I'll tell you this, Mike. If you would have seen what I saw, Coach, what is the kid's name?
Jawan Boyd. Well, let's here's we got Coach Quinn Hambright with the head coach Charles Henderson, first-year head coach, and he is. Must be happy this morning. Charles Henderson rolled to an easy win over Headland. And so I think that's 2 of the last 3 with a chance to finish with 3 wins in the last 4. But Coach, give us a quick recap of what you saw Friday night.
We played extremely hard the entire game. The kids, they kind of stepped up to the challenge. The seniors told me they had never won a homecoming.
Go ahead and put that on. But go ahead and keep talking.
Yeah. The seniors told me that they had never won a homecoming. So, and I kind of wanted to get it for them, especially. I've been preaching to them. These last few games. The seniors can start a winning streak. That can be your legacy. Mm-hmm. You win these next 2 games, in the rollover until next year, and if we're fortunate enough to win the first few games next year, then the seniors' legacy would be that they started the winning streak. On their homecoming, and they stepped up to the challenge. They played very well.
Well, did you get any stats on Jawan Boyd? As far as he the first 75-yard or 80-yard touchdown pass, that was him, right?
Yeah, he caught a 74-yarder. He ran back a 72-yard punt. He also had a 98-yard interception return.
What?
And,
I missed that.
Yeah, 98-yard pick 6 in the first drive of the third quarter.
Okay, I was gone.
Yeah, first drive of the third quarter, he had a 98-yard pick 6. And he also in the first half, he had a 100-yard, it was about an 85-yard return on kickoff for a touchdown, but it got called back from a holding from our freshman.
And he had a 35-yard touchdown pass too.
Yeah, he had a 35-yarder as well. I think he finished with 164 receiving yards off 4 catches with 2 touchdowns.
168 yards.
How fast is this kid? 4.5?
Jawan is actually, I talk to him all the time, and I joke with him. I say he's slow. He has football speed. And a lot of people, if he run the 40, it'll probably be a high 4.5, 4.6. But on the field, he looks like a speedster. And I tell him all the time, man, you're slow. But when he has that ball in his hand, he's
well, let's put it this way: nobody called him.
Yeah, he's magic. He is magic. He is magic. The head coach at Headland, Coach Melton, great guy. He ended up being I don't know if he's the interim or if he's actually the head coach after the situation with Rodney Dollar, but he posted on the Neil and Wally on Twitter, and he said he still said something about number 2 is fast, and he's still trying to catch him or something like that. But because Jawan won the Marco's Pizza Player of the Week, so
he ought to be the Player of the Week in the state of Alabama. Now let's recap that.
Yeah, he
75-yard touchdown pass, 35-yard touchdown pass, 85-yard punt return. And then about an 85-yard kickoff return called back, probably with a bogus call, and then 98-yard interception return, pick 6 for. So that's 5 touchdowns and probably about 500 yards if you add up all those yards.
And Coach, something else I've noticed about him that makes him so special. He has unreal jumping ability. I mean, Coach, have you ever checked his how high he jumps off the ground?
I haven't measured it yet, but he can get up there. He can definitely get up there. Him and Cody Youngblood, number 7. Those 2 guys were were definitely our jump ball guys for sure this year. And
Coach, now the next person that we need to talk about is your quarterback, Adams. Tell us about all he did.
Yeah, Parker, I think Jawan accounted for like about 75% of those yards. I think he threw for 200 some odd yards. But he was 8 for 11, so he was very efficient. We didn't even throw the ball that much. He was very efficient in throwing, and
throwing the deep, he can really throw the deep pass. He throws the deep pass really well, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he puts it on the money, exactly where it needs to be. And those guys developed a lot of chemistry over the last few months of in practice and after practice, just throwing, so that those deep balls can be completed. Because a lot of times you see, quarterbacks can't measure their receiver's speed. They're either overthrow them or underthrow them because that chemistry is not there. But the chemistry there with Parker and all of his receivers.
Well, you've got to be excited about these kids going into the last game against Brantley, and boy, that's going to be something. Playing Brantley High School at 1A and Charles Henderson at 5A, and Charles Henderson, these kids coming in with a lot of confidence. I thought your defense was sort of a bend but don't break defense, Coach.
Yeah, we've kind of been like that all year. Sometimes we've broken, but Friday we didn't break, and that's what I was extremely proud about. When they got in the red zone, they really didn't score. Their scores, except for the fourth quarter when I put the little guys in, but their scores were big play scores, and when you can stop somebody in the red zone, that's a win for the defense every single time.
Dad, you didn't mention an undefeated Brantley team, so Charles Henderson has a chance to end their perfect season. Yeah,
Brantley is they're top 5 in scoring in state 1 through 7A, and they're top 10 in defense and scoring defense in 1 through 7A. So they are an extremely talented team. They look good. Their running back looks good. I mean, even the backup quarterback. I mean, he throws that ball. I mean, he is good. They're skilled at receiver position, so they're a really well put together football team. Whether it's 1A or whether it's 4A, 5A, they're well put together.
So, their great quarterback Tucker Kilcrease, who's already committed to Troy to play quarterback at Troy University, is he going to play or is he still out?
No, he's out. I think he's going to be out for the season.
But it sounds like they've got their second string quarterback is good.
That's huge news. I didn't know he was out for the season. We got some bad information on that. I thought he was going to be back for the playoffs.
Well, that was the information that I got. I might have had some bad information, but whether he plays or not, they're very, very good. That, like I said, that quarterback that they have now, he's good. He's really good. Now, I heard that it was a bad injury for the quarterback, but that's for Brantley to kind of decide on and what they want to do with him. But whoever plays is going. They're going to be efficient. Like I said, the backup quarterback has thrown, I think, the last 2 games. The first ball of the game that he's thrown has been a touchdown. In the last 2 games, in the very first throw.
Well, it sounds like just Brantley has a lot of athletes, and
they do.
There's some other athlete that he was probably playing some other position, and they moved him over to quarterback, and he would be starting for a lot of teams. I'm sure.
I would imagine they play everybody both ways too. I would think
they do. They do a lot of those. Now they on the sideline, they look like they have about 40 players for a 1A school. That's huge.
Yeah.
But I see a lot of those numbers on both sides of the ball too.
And they're gonna play the game at Brantley. That's gonna give them at least a touchdown.
Yeah, we're playing at Brantley, 7:00 Friday.
Yeah.
Man, I cannot imagine that crowd. That's gonna be standing room only.
Yeah, it will be. Yeah, and I've never been there. I don't know the size of their stadium, but with the crowd that I imagine we're gonna bring, and the crowd of a 9-0, 8-0, 9-0, I don't know, team. It's gonna be huge.
Well, good. That's what if you want to end the season on the right note, you want to knock off the team that's highly ranked, and that'll be more memorable when you beat them. If you beat them.
And I think it's gonna be a great game, Coach. I didn't mean to jump away from last week's big 42-21 victory over Headland. Coach, do you have any? You sort of give us your opinion of how your team played on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, and with all 3 phases, we finally got a touchdown on special teams. That's been kind of we spend a lot of time on special teams in practice. We coach it up and we coach it up.
Should have had 2.
Yeah, we should have had 2. And to finally kind of get the kids to understand that special teams is important, or probably more important than offense and defense. They're kind of buying. They're not kind of. They actually are buying in. It took a long time, but people think that special teams is a playoff, but special teams can win you a lot of football games.
And your kicker did a good job, and you got all those extra points. And
yes, extra points. Kickoff's going to be in the end zone almost every single time.
What's his name?
Nick Pearson.
Yeah, he's done a good job.
Yeah, Nick Pearson. He's a sophomore. I have him for 2 more years too. So. That sophomore class is loaded, but I'm extremely proud. Like I said, I'm glad those seniors got that win, and I'm glad that I got a lot of young guys to play as well. I had 2 8th graders to actually play in the game in the 4th quarter. So,
who was your running back number 4?
Zach Coleman.
He had some good runs.
Is he just a sophomore, Coach?
Yeah, Zach Coleman's a sophomore as well. Yes.
Coach, he is going to be a great one. We noticed that he got big old thighs. Is that right? He runs with big old thighs.
Yeah, he's a kid that squats. He squats. I think it's in the 9th grade. I think he was 425.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man, that's something. Was spotting 425.
Yeah. So this year, I'm pretty sure he's up there now, though. So that was last year. So
I will tell you this, Coach. Another thing that I was very impressed with was your kicking game. I felt like your punter and ex-point kickers did a very good job.
Yeah, Nick. He's hard on himself. He's a perfectionist. He has a 4.5 GPA, so that tells you about him. So he's a perfectionist. And
what's his name again, Coach?
Nicholas Pearson.
Oh yeah, well he does a good job.
Yeah, he's a great kid. Calf muscles are about as big as my thighs, but he has some monstrous calf muscles, and he can kick it. In practice, his longest at practice was a 55-yarder.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, so his longest in the game is I think it's a 42.
He thought, well, he is. That's good to have a good kicker. You obviously got a great kick returner that can score every time. Tell your players not to hold. If they think they're going to clip, just raise your hand.
Raise your hand and run. Just go away.
Don't ruin the. But
Coach, at one time, Rice and I was sitting next to each other. I have never seen so many penalties thrown against a team in my life. Were the penalties there, or do we have what I call
phantom calls, phantom penalties?
Now,
flag.
yeah, these refs actually did a good job of kind of controlling the game. Of course, there were some that I'm not going to agree with, but that's just the nature of the beast, and some that wasn't called that should have been called. So it was it's a balance there, and like I said, this referee crew that we had this game was pretty good though. But now the kickoff return, that was
iffy.
But
my motto is if it's borderline, don't throw it. I mean,
so.
And if it's 25 to 30 yards behind the ball carrier, please don't throw it.
Yeah. And that's essentially what it was, Jawan was all the way down the field, and the kid was just continuously blocking him. Like it's almost a penalty for excessive blocking. He just continued to block him until he just fell to the ground. Hands were inside, thumbs were up,
So they called back a beautiful kick return that should be on the record, but it's on film for those college coaches looking at it in the future.
Yeah, it's going to be on film for sure.
And Adam was very impressive, and then your running back number 4, of course, he was very impressive. Tell us about some other kids, Coach, that stood out to you.
Yeah, I think Corey Robinson caught an interception. Cody Youngblood actually caught the first interception. There's a picture of him and the kid that they were throwing to, and Cody's entire upper half is over the kid's head.
God.
Like it was.
I saw that. I remember seeing that.
Was that a Dan Smith photo?
He went up and got that one, didn't he?
Possibly. Yeah, he went up and got it. I mean, he went up and got it.
That was the one in the end zone. That was the one in the end zone, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was. And he went up. When I tell you he got that ball, I was like, my God. From the sideline it looked good, but that steal shot, there's nothing like a good picture. That kind of steals the moment.
Now, going into the next week, do you have everybody feeling pretty good, or do you have an injury?
Yeah, I have a few injuries. We really haven't had a game this year where we played with 100% of our team, except for the first game against Pike County. Every other game, there's been somebody on the team, that out every single game this year. That's kind of the luck we've had this year. But right tackle, he's out. Zion Grady, the 9th grader, he has I think he has 9 sacks this year. He's out. And a few others. Zach Beatty, concussion, number 16. He's on concussion protocol. He could be back this week. But I think and Daquan Brantley, MCL as well. So
I was wanting to know the status of your linebacker. I noticed he didn't play. That was kid number 13. I want to say 13 or 14. Can't remember his number, but he had been playing linebacker. I noticed he did not play.
15? I got Jackson West played. I got Damian Hart. He played. He had a pretty good game, and Will Templin, number 15. Number 27 usually plays linebacker, but I moved him to D-line because of Zion Grady.
Yeah.
But yeah, we number 20 didn't play because he's battling some type of dizziness. I think it's vertigo, but I'm not a doctor, so he's gotten some blood work done. So the doctor kind of recommended that he doesn't do anything till the blood work comes back. So.
Well, Coach, I noticed something. You held your composure in this game, but you could have been all upset with the officials and all that. But it seems like you held your composure very well, and your team watched you hold your composure. I believe they held theirs pretty well. Did you think?
Yeah, they did. We still have mishaps here and there, but I'm a very intense coach. It's people sometimes I'm mistake my intensity for anger, and it's not. I'm I'm a get in your face, get riled up type. You know, it's not fussing, it's not cussing. It's just more so, hey, get it together. And you know, and that's just, you know, I'm a rah-rah guy. You know, a lot of people are not rah-rah guys. A lot of people are laid back, but you know, it's been a part of my personality since I was in high school. So, you know, I've always been the person to get everybody up when everybody's down, and I bring that to the coaching realm too. So, you know, that's just who I am. You know, but as far as, you know, with the kids, you know, they did a better job this week with keeping their composure and stuff. There were some things said on the football field that kind of got the kids, you know, riled up, but they kept their composure for the most part too.
All right, well, that was a good win. It was homecoming, a fun week. It's always good to win homecoming. That would be a downer to lose homecoming, and sets up a really big season finale against what you say is a outstanding team.
Yeah, they're top notch. They're top notch, and they're literally ranked 1 through 7A in not passing, but in offense and defense. Top 5 in offense, top 10 in defense. So they're a pretty good football team. We're not talking about just 1A. So you know, I've been preaching to these kids, you know, don't let the 1A fool you. You know, they are a good football team.
Well, the kids ought to want to play their best game in their last game anyway, whoever the opponent is.
Definitely.
Yeah. Coach, you can look at this game. You can look at this game as your bowl game, Coach. just say this is our bowl game.
Yeah. So hopefully we can go out there and compete and get a win for sure.
Yeah, when I was a senior, I played with Charles Henderson. I was hurt my senior year, so I was on the sidelines. But the team, we finished 5-5, but it was a very misleading 5-5. There was only one team that really beat us, Stanhope Elmore, and we could have won every game on the schedule. So we went into our last 2 games 3-5, which was a huge disappointment for that team. But then we played Pike County, who had a good team, and beat them easily, blew them out. Then we played Auburn, a bigger school, in the last game and blew them out too. So those last 2 games just really made a huge difference in how we felt about that season. You know, we said, yeah, see, here we are. Here's what we can do.
Right.
And y'all can do the same thing.
Right. And I'm pretty sure that was momentum going into the next year.
Yeah.
You know, for those guys, those juniors that was under you. So, you know, and that's what I've been preaching. That exact same story. You know, you look back at the schedule, you look at the mistakes we've made. You know, a lot of it was on us. You know, a lot of times I'll tell them Charles Henderson beat the crap out of Charles Henderson today. You know, and so we're kind of minimizing those mistakes, and it's going to take time. But you know, it's coming, and it's slowly coming, but it's coming for sure.
Coach, I can see it. I can see the discipline that you're building on that. You're building on working hard, and of course, this is going to be a huge game against Brantley. Should be a game that Charles Henderson can make proud of as they came down the stretch, Coach. We talked about it so many times. Your team played the best football of the year at the end of the year.
Yeah.
And coaching-wise, your coaching has been the best at the end of the year when it's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you know, hopefully next year we can carry that momentum of getting better every week up until week 11. You know,
exactly right, Coach.
Yeah, so
that's
the plan.
I'll tell you another thing too. You said you told us at the first of the year you'd be on every Monday, and you were there every Monday. One Monday or 2 Mondays we weren't there. That was our fault. But I tell you what, win, lose, or draw, you were always there for us, Coach, and we appreciate you very much.
Yes, sir, and I appreciate the invite. You know, a man is only as strong as his word, so you know, I appreciate the invite, and I thank you all for sure.
I'll tell you what we'll do right now, Coach. We'll do it again every ball game next. We hope you'll come in and give us a preview next week of your team and how they play.
Oh yeah.
And then next year, you'll come back at the same time on every Monday and give us your opinion of how well your team played, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes, sir, I will.
All right. Well, I know Coach Hambright has to get to school, but congratulations on a good win and good luck Friday night against the Brantley Bulldogs. And we'll be right back after this.
We'll see you next Monday. We'll see you next Monday to give us the final show of the year.
Yes, sir.
And thank you so very much. And go Trojans.
Go Trojans. Let's get them.
That's all.
Piggly Wiggly's local butchers are on site at both stores and will help you select the best cuts of meat and trim them to your liking. Our USDA choice beef is the most consistently tender, juicy, and flavorful beef you can buy, all at cost plus 10%.
Got a job? Yes. Need a car? Yes. Take home $350 a week? Yes. Been told no by the other guys? Yes. At Premier. Yes, you can. Drive a new car or pre-owned vehicle today from Premier. You can be approved today. Got a job? Yes. Need a car? Yes. Take home $350 a week? Yes. Been told no by the other guys? At Premier. Yes, you can. You can be approved today. Shop PremierTroy.com. Nobody beats a Premier deal. Nobody.
Welcome to ESPN College Football.
This is going to be wild. Run it.
At cost plus 10%, we offer your favorite brands at the best price. At Piggly Wiggly, we keep it simple. We price our products at cost, then add 10% at checkout. We carry all your favorite name brand foods, and we accept manufacturer coupons. Find us on Facebook and see our weekly specials.
In the market for a new or pre-owned vehicle? We've got what you're looking for.
So come see us at Bill Jackson Chevrolet Buick GMC in Troy, and you too can experience the Jackson satisfaction.
Bill Jackson Chevrolet Buick GMC.
Hey, what was that kid's name? That decoration, David? Did you get his name?
Yeah, Juwan Boyd. All right, we're back on the air. Appreciate Coach Hambright coming and spending a couple minutes with us. Heading into the final regular season game against Brantley. We got a lot of viewers in Brantley, I hope and think. So normally, after they get done playing Charles Simpson, we'll be the biggest Brantley fans there are, but not this week for this crew that all graduated from Charles Simpson. But it should be a really, really good game. Heck, I don't know if you were setting a line on the high school game, what would you set the line on this one? You got a much bigger school playing a team that is obviously awesome at their level. I'd say it's about a toss-up, and Brantley might even be a slight favorite.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that. The 5A team should be the favorite, I would think, because of how much bigger school it is. But Brantley, no question about it, the best. Is at least the top 5 best 1A school in the state.
Well, it's impressive.
Very well coached.
It's impressive that Brantley lost Tucker, their quarterback, and they haven't missed a beat with a backup quarterback.
Evidently, the backup has done a great job. But it would have been great to see Tucker Kilcrease, who is committed to play next year at Troy from a 1A school in Brantley. But we've already seen a kid that played pretty good, Mike, from Brantley that played at Troy last year.
Yep. I don't know where Michael must be with the kids. Yeah, that's free. Could have played this year, and then he decided to he'd already graduated, so decided to go ahead and get a start with the real world. And
that kid now is coaching at Strawn High School.
I bet he's a good coach, but he could have been playing.
I want to mention a few high school scores locally to mention this morning. Right? Can I do that?
Sure can. Give them to us.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead. Pike Little Arts won going away against Glenwood. Hello? Looks like we've lost Mike and Michael. So, but I do know that Pike Little Arts won a lot to a little over Glenwood, who's one of the powers in AISA football in most years, and certainly were last year. So Pike Little Arts is hitting their stride at just the right time, won easily. Moving over the college game, everybody saw the same Alabama-Tennessee game I saw. Hold on, let's go back here. Are y'all both back with me?
Yeah, I'm back.
All right.
Mike, are you back? I was wanting to give a few high school scores this morning.
All right, go ahead.
So these are some schools that are locally, pretty much local schools. Andalusia beat Carroll 48-24. That Andalusia very strong team over Carroll. Also, Arrington beat Cottonwood 59-24. So they look good heading into the playoffs. And Auburn High School beat Enterprise. Listen to this, 42-28.
Ooh, I bet that was two good teams right there.
That's right. And in other games, the Tonga Academy, the top 1A school in Alabama Advanced School beat Wilcox 35-7. In other games of local interest, Brantley beat Florella 54-24. Also, Tuskegee 28, Ashford 24, 14, excuse me. And in other games, Charles Henderson, of course, beat Headland 42-21. Clay Chalkville beat Huffman 54-0. Crenshaw Christian won a big one. They beat Edgewood Academy 38-33. So Coach will have his team ready for the playoffs. Other games of interest you'll find is Eufaula. Coach Rigsby. He beat Sidney Lanier 28-6. Fife got back on the winning trail after winning they lost their 51-game winning streak last week, but Fife comes back now and beats Asbury 54-0. G.W. Long for Skipperville beat Abbeville 41-0. Geneva County beat Zion Chapel. This is where our guy from Geneva County of Hartford beat Zion Chapel 58-28. Of course, that's where the Alabama commitment played or played in that game. I don't know how well he did.
Well, somebody played pretty well if they scored 55 points.
Yeah, you're right, exactly. Highland Home beat Thorsby. Highland Home beat Thorsby 21-14. Hillcrest of Evergreen beat Cottage Hill 48-14. These are teams in our local area. Isabella knocked off previously undefeated Luverne 32-13. So, but the playoffs are coming, and they need to play well in the playoffs. Jackson beat Canby 57-0. And let's see, we got a few more to give you in our area. Let's see here. We got right here.
You know, I'm looking at these scores.
The Georgiana 42-6. And I'm going to finish up right here in a second. And I'm looking at look at the teams in our area. Beat W.S. Neal 34-8. And Bank Liberal Arts beat Glenwood, as we mentioned earlier, 49-13. So they really look great here at the playoffs. And Red Level beat Pleasant Home. Red Level wins 33-22. And Smith Station, that's St. Pennington's team. St. team beat Dothan 43-17. So that was a big win for them.
You know, I'm looking at these scores, and I've noticed all year that there's just a lot of games that are blowouts. I mean, I've counted about 7 that were 40 to 50 to 60 to 0. Than a lot of other games. There's a lot of games that are 40 or more points. Look at Montgomery Catholic beat Goshen 56 to 6.
Did you see where Lou Byrne got beat? Lou Byrne got beat by Isabella. He got blown out.
It sure did. Elba won on Thursday night. Elba beat Houston County on 40 to 12 on the play on Thursday.
Well, we know Elba.
Rice off the air. What did you think of the Alabama game?
Well, you know, I had a little insurance bet on Tennessee to cover the 25.5, and I thought that, boy, that game was a lock the whole game, and then Alabama scores 28 points in the fourth quarter. So, but let's say the score is misleading. It's good and bad. I mean, there's areas that are very concerning about Alabama, but then there's areas that they look really good. But bottom line, anytime Alabama beats Tennessee, I'm taking it. And they won by, 28 points in the end.
Yeah, this team just doesn't seem like they had that killer instinct that Saban teams have had in the past. They seem, kind of like they're just not ready to play. I mean, a lot of procedure penalties and false starts, and then receivers dropping balls, long coverages of the secondary. I mean, against a good team, you would have got beat for sure on Saturday night. Bryce Young's ability now to scramble and give that dual threat that I think everybody thought he was going to bring to the table, I think that's the only chance they have against Georgia. Because Alabama, if they can't block Tennessee, they dang sure are not going to block Georgia.
Yeah, the offensive line is questionable in pass protection sometimes, and just basic running plays. You know, Alabama, like Robinson, had 100 yards, but I think he averaged about 3.9 yards per carry. You don't have many 15, 20, 25-yard runs that you used to have for Alabama running backs. Have a lot of running plays that go for no gain. So the offensive line's been kind of a disappointment, I would say.
Yeah, that was a fun night. I was at a dinner party, and I was there with about 3 or 4. I guess we were there about 6 or 7 couples, and about 4 of the husbands were Alabama grads. So thank God we had the game on. But then we also had the Braves game on, and the Braves game was unbelievable as well against the Dodgers. And Alabama, started pulling away, and I started watching the last 3 innings of that Braves game, and that was incredible ending to that game. So it was a lot of excitement on Saturday night.
Well, tell us about it. I didn't watch the Braves game. They won 4-2, didn't they?
Well, the Braves had this Eddie Rosario kid that ended up being the National League MVP of the series. He was phenomenal. They picked him up from Cleveland, where he was injured when they picked him up at the trade deadline, but he had hit 28 home runs, I think 3 different times with the Minnesota Twins. So the guy had a lot of, great years, I guess, during his career, but he actually was not playing very well. The Braves started kind of playing him late in the year a lot. He was, probably one of their best hitters, but the guy hits 3 home runs with 9 RBIs. He hits a 3-run homer in the 4th. And then the Braves brought in their reliever who gave up the game in Los Angeles when they were up 5-0. Jackson gave up, I think, 3 hits, gave up a run. So the Dodgers have 2nd and 3rd with no outs. And Atlanta Braves brought their great closer in, not closer, but relief guy, Maxip in. He throws about 98 from the left side. And all he does is come in and strike out the side.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's what you need.
They get out of the 7th inning, and then after that, the Braves, actually, he came back in the 8th as well and got a strikeout and 2 more ground balls. And then they brought the reliever in, Will Smith, in the 9th, and they got the Dodgers 3 up, 3 down. But unbelievable play by Dansby Swanson, the kid from Vanderbilt, whose both his parents went to Troy. His mom just got inducted in the Troy Sports Hall of Fame. He made a play in the hole, sliding on the ground, and threw the guy out for the final out.
Do it, Dansby. So who are the Braves playing in the World Series?
Astros. First time the Braves have been to the World Series since 1999, which is hard to believe. That's 22 years since they've been in the World Series.
Well, awesome.
They've been to the playoffs a bunch. They've been playoffs more than anybody. What'd you say?
And I'll say one thing about this Braves team is they are hot at the right time. So they are, nobody thought they'd beat the Dodgers. The Dodgers have won 106 games during the regular season, beat the Giants who won 107 games. I mean, it looked like a mismatch. But, man, the Braves are just, got a lot of guys up and down that lineup that can hit home runs, and their pitching has really come around as well.
Yeah.
Ooh,
so, when does that series start, Mike?
Look and see. I want to say it starts maybe tomorrow night. So I'll have to look and see.
Yeah. Well, let's go Braves.
Michael, I know we've got Wiley Sanders truck lines, and of course they are sponsored this morning, and of course looking for a great career. There's a lot of opportunities out there through Wiley Sanders truck lines in Troy, Alabama, and of course Paul Getty and his team will be coming on our air in about 15 minutes.
Yep, about 20.
No, you got longer than that. You got about 25 minutes.
It's 17.
Hey, whatever we have, we're going to.
Well, let's use some of those minutes and talk about a couple of the big upcoming games in college football. In the SEC, most people will probably be looking at Florida and Georgia, which doesn't seem like as big a game now as it would have 3 or 4 weeks ago. But the one I really want to watch is Auburn versus Ole Miss. Have you seen the early line on that game, Michael?
No, but it's one for Auburn.
They're playing in Auburn, aren't they?
Yeah, playing at Auburn. Yeah.
So I'm actually going to be in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I can actually play a legal wager on that game. I wonder who I should take.
I don't know. I tell you this, Ole Miss looked very good this past weekend. I watched them a lot, and I tell you, they're very, very balanced. It's a very, very balanced football team. I tell you, that's going to be a real good game between Auburn and Ole Miss this weekend.
Ole Miss defense looked a lot better.
That LSU game was not even competitive. LSU scored 10 points late in the fourth quarter, making 31-17, and then Ole Miss had a sure touchdown that the guy put his arms across and got knocked out and got a touchback. So it should have been probably 21-point win for sure. In fact, they scored right there in the last. How did they score at the last LSU? Because they knocked them out of their money. Is that right? No, they brought the line was 7.5. So yeah, Ole Miss still had a comfortable cover. They won by 14.
Yeah.
Yeah, the line went down to 7.5 because a lot of people thought Corral was not going to play. Corral was a game time decision. Of course, he played well, but Ole Miss was doing this with no great players at wide receiver. Their top 3 wide receivers are out right now. And then I think their tight end and offensive linemen are out. I mean, they've got to get healthy to have any chance to beat Auburn.
You know, everybody talks about him as being a great play caller. All they have to do is watch that game right there. He ate them alive as far as play calling. He's one of the best I've ever seen.
Well, technically,
the shocker of the weekend was West Virginia going on the road and beat TCU pretty handily. Huge win for Neil Brown over the weekend.
Oh, I missed that.
I was glad to see that. It really was. What was that final score, Mike?
I want to say it was 29-13. I'll have to look and see.
Yeah. But,
Braves play tomorrow night.
Where does it open up? In Atlanta or Houston?
I want to say it's Houston because they had the better record overall.
I was flipping around yesterday, and instead of watching the NFL games, I was watching one of these 30 for 30s on the New York Mets of the early 80s. The Gooden and Strawberry and Hernandez and Gary Carter and all those guys. And it had about 5 parts to it, and so it went into all of these series, these World Series and League Series. And you see, it's real interesting to see how usually those first 2 games are important, but one year the Mets lost their first two and then came back at home and then came back and won the next two on the road.
Yeah, the game will be in Houston. Early line for Troy against Coastal Carolina. What do you think, Rice and Dad? What do you think our line's going to be?
I'd say about 13, Coastal Carolina.
How about this? No respect for the Troy Trojans. Vegas has loved Troy all year, but Troy has not covered any lines. Troy is a 19-point underdog.
Well, there you go.
Whoa. 19 points. So they were 6.5 against an SEC South Carolina on the road. And on the road at Coastal Carolina, who Troy had beat last year, keep in mind, with a backup quarterback, Jacob Freed. 19-point favorite, Coastal Carolina.
Yeah.
I tell you what, Troy's defense travels. Troy's got the best defense they've had in years. I mean, I see Coastal winning, but I don't see it as a blowout. I can see Troy definitely within a couple touchdowns. Yeah.
Well, you know, I looked at the stats of the Appalachian State Coastal game. Appalachian State upset Coastal, but Appalachian State had about 550 yards to Coastal had about 350. So Appalachian State was moving the ball up and down the field over Coastal Carolina. That kind of gives me some hope for the Trojans.
Y'all want to recap of the weekend college football games?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that'd be good. That'd be good.
All right, so it started with the huge upset. App State beat Coastal 30-27. I guess it wasn't huge. They were only a 4.5-point favorite. Lafayette, who Troy plays in a few weeks, survived Arkansas State 28-27. SMU continues to impress, 55-26. They are undefeated. Other scores throughout the day: Central Florida beat Memphis 24-7. So Malvern, I think, 4-3. Other games: Arkansas wins big. They played nobody. Arkansas Pine Bluff. Surprise game here. I don't know if you watched this, but Texas Tech got a huge lead at home against Kansas State, and Kansas State came all the way back to beat Texas Tech 25-24.
You know, I watched a couple minutes of that game, and it just so happens when I was watching, they were bragging about the former Troy receiver, what a difference he'd made for Texas Tech, the transfer.
Oh, yeah, Geiger.
Did they mention he came from Troy?
Oh, yeah.
Of course, Michigan's undefeated. They'll play Michigan State this week, so somebody's got to lose. They beat Northwestern 33-7. Shocking game here because of. Go ahead.
Did you watch the Michigan game? Let me tell you, Michigan's the real deal. I think they'll beat Michigan State.
Shocking game here because of the score. Wake Forest 70, Army 56. Wake Forest is undefeated as well.
Yeah, I had Army in an upset.
You put 70 points on a team like Army that you know plays hard. That's a pretty good offense.
Wake Forest is undefeated. Oklahoma State was undefeated, no more.
And I will say this: I watched the very end of this game and all the overtime. Illinois upset Penn State in overtime, 9 overtimes. Did y'all know about this crazy rule? The crazy rule after the third overtime, each team gets the ball from the 3-yard line and has to go for 2. So they go for 2, both teams. I think the first 4 overtimes, nobody scores until the 7th.
I mean, nobody could score from 3 yards down. I could not believe it.
Yeah, I mean, that was horrible offensive play calling, I felt like. I mean, I felt like the game should have tried to run the ball more. But brutal.
Well, you know, it happens after the second overtime, so you're right. It went 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 5 overtimes in a row. Neither team could score from 3 yards out. That's 10 chances to score.
But, the unusual thing about it, right? The very unusual thing. They got only one play from the 3-yard line.
I know. I thought it. I didn't know they were doing that either.
Yeah, I don't like that rule at all. That should be, you should at least have 3 or 4 overtimes, regular overtimes. But I think it's trying to limit the injuries and time of game.
Unusual thing I've seen in football.
Well, they're calling it the longest game in college football history, 9 overtimes. So you can't look at it this way now when you're only running one play each team.
Yeah, right. Well, then here's what it tells me. Hey, guys, is that the odds of going, you're going to have all these decisions. Mike got upset with something. Arkansas, I think, went for 2 for a win against somebody. And Mike said, kick the extra point. Well, Mike was right. I mean, look what here's our little case study here. 10 times in a row, these teams could not get a converted 2-point. So your odds of making a 2-point conversion are not that good. Play the problem.
I mean, the only difference is they moved it to a 3 instead of a 2. A normal 2-point conversion to 2.
No, it's always been the 3.
It's always the 3.
In the NFL, it might be the 2, but in college, it's the 3.
Yeah.
Also, we got other games. Florida State won 3 in a row. They beat UMass 59-3. Shocking game here. I was watching this. I called my buddy. I said, Kansas has beaten Oklahoma in the fourth quarter. I said, I'm sure Oklahoma will come back and win, which Oklahoma scored a touchdown with 2 seconds left to make it 35-23. But Oklahoma falls in the AP poll to number 4. Alabama jumps them and goes to number 3. So Alabama's 3, Oklahoma's 4. Then another close game here. I don't know if y'all watched the Cincinnati Navy. Navy scored late, got the onside kick, and had a chance to tie it late, but threw an interception. So Cincinnati beats Navy 27-20.
That's what that wishbone would do.
And then you got to think Virginia Tech's coach is going to get fired. Syracuse goes on the road and wins a heartbreaking game to Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech led late. Syracuse wins 41-36. Other games, I know I picked this game wrong. Wisconsin goes on the road and blows out Purdue 30-13.
Yeah, I got that one right. That was one of the games I got right.
I think a good team out there is Virginia. Virginia can score, buddy.
And then another great game, great ending. It looked like Oklahoma State got a first down late, but they gave the ball to Iowa State instead. Final score, Iowa State 24, Oklahoma State 21. So Oklahoma State is not undefeated anymore. Other games of interest, BYU beats Washington State without their head coach who was fired earlier in the week.
Hey, well, stop right there, as Meatloaf sings in that great song. Did you see that Alabama and Auburn, University of Alabama and Auburn have mandated the COVID vaccine for all faculty and employees? You have to have the vaccine by December 8th. So my question is Auburn going to fire Coach Harsin, who does not have the vaccine? Just like Washington State.
He's had COVID, so he's got antibodies probably.
Yeah, but that didn't make any difference in some of these other states. But so that's something to watch, is that University of Alabama and Auburn have said that all staff, paid employees at those big universities they have no choice. They want to keep a job to get the vaccine. So, I mean, is Coach Harsin's game, the Iron Bowl game, going to be his last game as Auburn coach? Or is he going to be like the Washington State coach and stick to his principles and not do it?
Well, I guess we'll find out. I'm sure there'll be a lot of questions probably going his way about that.
Yeah, okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Shocking upset here. I mean, embarrassing loss. My sister was at this game with her family, and UAB is a 24-point favorite, loses at home to Rice, Bill Rice University.
Well, I'll make a comment that the announced attendance was a little over 24,000, and the stadium is 47,000. So it was probably wasn't 27,000, but I don't know how much that stadium costs, but it seems apparent already that UAB is not going to be able to even fill it up halfway.
I tell you what, that right there was a blow to their coaching.
Oh yeah, you can't lose to Rice.
You're right.
Yeah, I think UAB has 3 losses. I think UAB has 3 losses now.
Yeah, Michael, Law Monroe wins again.
Oh, I know. They beat South Alabama. Their freshman quarterback, who Troy played against as well, threw for 389 yards. They basically blew out South Alabama. I think South Alabama scored some touchdowns late, but they won 41-31. Harry Bowden is Sun Belt Coach of the Year, maybe Coach of the Year in college football. He's got them at 4-3 at Law Monroe, a team that was predicted to win 2 games.
Yeah.
That's right. So beating Troy doesn't look quite as bad, does it?
No, that's right.
I tell you who looks really bad is Clemson. I watched that Pittsburgh game. Pittsburgh really just dominated the whole game. They won 27-17. Clemson now has 3 losses, and I imagine we'll have probably a couple more.
Let me say something. I say this all the time. quarterback. If they had a decent quarterback, they'd probably be undefeated.
Yep.
Oregon goes on the road and survives UCLA. Good game there. I watched a little bit of it. Oregon won 34-31. UCLA now has lost 3 games. They started the year off pretty well, beating LSU, but we didn't realize at the time LSU was going to be so bad. Other games of interest: Louisville, Boston College. I think that was one of our picks. Louisville wins easily, 28-14. Mississippi State goes on the road and crushes Vanderbilt, 45-6. Other games of interest: Texas San Antonio. My team, I talked about a lot, is undefeated. They beat La Tech 45-16.
Let's talk about some of the teams that you wouldn't think are undefeated that are. That's one of them. Texas San Antonio, Wake Forest, SMU. Aren't they still undefeated?
Yeah. Michigan State.
Yeah.
Two teams a lot of people didn't think would be undefeated.
Yep. They all control their own destiny.
San Diego State wins again. They're undefeated. They beat Air Force 20-14. Also, West Virginia, Neil Brown. Congratulations to Neil and the staff. We know a lot of those guys. Huge win for West Virginia. They beat TCU on the road 29-17. They're now 3-4 at West Virginia. But maybe Neil can turn around and get them to a bowl game. Ohio State is rolling right now, 54-7 over Indiana. Then another shocking score. Miami, who everybody thought they were going to fire their coach play after this game, beat NC State 31-30. Notre Dame blew out USC 31-16. Virginia, Mike Amos' favorite team apparently, 48-40 over Georgia Tech. So Virginia is playing well. Then A&M destroyed South Carolina, which everybody thought was going to happen. A&M is on a roll since beating Alabama. They won 44-14. They're now ranked 14th in the country as well.
So maybe this team that beat Alabama is as good as everybody thought they were going to be before the season. They just took them a while to hit their stride.
Huge games this weekend, though. I mean, Auburn Ole Miss is a huge game.
Ooh, sure is.
Auburn only has one loss in the SEC. Ole Miss only has one loss in the SEC West.
I keep saying it. Auburn control. I keep saying Alabama. Everybody says Alabama controls their own destiny, which they do, but Auburn also controls their own destiny. Auburn could be in the playoffs. Well, check that. Auburn's lost 2 games. I doubt they'd make the playoffs.
Let me tell you another thing. If Bo has a great game, and the Ole Miss guy does not have a good game, Bo could be in contention for the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah, he's been too inconsistent. You can't look at what he did against. You can't look at what he did against Arkansas. That's the best game of his career. Now, if he does that the rest of the way and throws for 300 yards and beats Texas A&M and beats Alabama, if Auburn goes to this stretch of Arkansas. They got Georgia, Arkansas, Ole Miss, and Texas A&M, and comes out 3-1. This will be one of the greatest coaching jobs ever by Brian Harsin.
Yeah, you're right.
I still think they could probably lose Ole Miss. I definitely think they'll get beat by A&M the way A&M is playing right now.
Well, Auburn's playing real good, and let me tell you this.
Yeah, if you go on the road, you go in front of 105,000 people on the road at A&M. I mean, that's going to be a tough place to win.
Well, let me tell you this: if anybody can do it, Bo can do it. Have you ever noticed?
You're basing this off like 2 games, bro.
But can you believe that Auburn's got another Bo in their system?
Yep.
Well, they've had him for 3 years.
Well, they got good. I believe in momentum and confidence, and Bo seems to have it. Man, if Auburn can beat Ole Miss, they'll really have it. So, I mean, this is a huge game for the Auburn Tigers.
I am impressed with Auburn's defense. I felt like Auburn's defense was going to be extremely weak, and they were going to give up, at least 30 points a game. And they've been a lot better than I thought. And then, I hate to say this because we like Cornelius Williams a lot, and I still think he's a great coach. But, man, the receivers are playing a lot better since that move was made.
Yeah. You're right.
You never think of firing a receivers coach and not making that big of a difference. But man, the receivers have played a lot better since that has happened.
Well, Auburn has 3, not one, but three really good running backs.
They sure do.
And they got a quarterback that's, when he wants to, looks like, Doug Flutie or Archie Manning.
Yeah. All right, let me just mention this before we go to the Wiley Sanders truck show. And, of course, we appreciate Wiley Sanders Trucking Company for being a strong supporter of our program here on Troy Cable. But something I want to mention is that we've got some big games coming up, especially at Troy. Give us a little picture of that right now.
People on Coastal Carolina?
No, yeah, with Troy's schedule the rest of the way.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Troy's schedule the rest of the way is about as brutal as any schedule in the country. The big issue is, on the road to start with Coastal Carolina. I am still shocked by that line. I thought that line would be a little bit less than 19.
Let's stop right there. Stop right there. Meatloaf song. Troy beat Coastal Carolina back-to-back 4 and 3 years ago. Then they go to Coastal Carolina and should have won and lose in the last minute on a 2-point conversion. Then last year they had the game won in the last minute and let Coastal Carolina go down the field in 40 seconds. So, I mean, why would Troy be afraid of Coastal Carolina? And then Coastal Carolina just gets outgained by 200 yards to App State. I'm saying that Troy can beat Coastal Carolina. Louisiana barely beats Arkansas State. I'm saying Troy can beat Louisiana. App State has already lost a couple of games. I guess we can. I don't know if we can beat them because we never do. But South Alabama gets blown out by La Monroe, so Troy can beat South Alabama.
Yeah.
So really,
South Alabama's bad on the road.
And then I think who's the other game? Georgia State is hot and cold.
Here's the schedule down the stretch. Troy at Coastal Carolina. Next game, Troy will be at home against South Alabama. They'll be at home against Lafayette, home against Appalachian State. So you couldn't ask for 3 better games in a row.
Let me just say this.
And then they finish the year at Georgia State.
Troy controls its own. Troy and Auburn control their own destiny in the conference. There.
Boy, just think of the great football at Auburn and some great football at Troy.
Yeah, Troy is due to pull an upset under Lindsey. This is his 3rd year. If it's ever going to happen, it needs to happen now.
Exactly.
Thank you, Michael. And, of course, our show is brought to you by Premier Dodge Chrysler Jeep and Ram Trucks on the bypass right here in Troy. And Wiley Sanders Truck Line. Looking for a career in the trucking industry, no better place than Wiley Sanders Truck Line, Troy, Alabama. Thank you, guys.
All right.
You guys.
Thank y'all. See everybody tomorrow morning.